passed away. And so I was without a teacher for 6 months, and I had to be careful who I went to. The next teacher I went to, I was at the London Opera Studio. I went to the Opera Studio where they choose 12 students from the whole of England. And I was lucky to be chosen to do this course. You work with the famous conductors, directors, coaches. They all come in. People like Tito Gobbi. In his old age, he came and produced some scenes for us. Graziella Sciutti came and did a set of scenes with us, which was very, very exciting. But I knew I needed to develop my voice further.
Your comment about spinning out the bread for long phrases reminded me, in New York, there was a rather good tenor who wanted to put on a concert, and he did do that, and he wanted to sing Il mio tesoro from Mozart, and there you've got a phrase that goes for about 8 measures, and then there's a run at the end, you come down and you go up, there's a little trill, and we had a decent orchestra, we were going through this, and then he said, Maestro, when you come to that passage, take it a little faster, because I have a lot of So we had 2 tempos, one the regular tempo and one a fast one, so you could sing it.
There are little tricks of the trade that way. You know, if you have a sympathetic pianist and you're doing a recital, you just indicate to them where you'd like to move on a bit, and then nobody notices. And often, actually, it's very funny. I had a young Indian student come to London in the summer this year, and she wasn't counting too well. And there was a pianist there. She jumped a beat, and he jumped with her, but she jumped another beat. And the poor man, he just didn't know what was happening. So I think, pianists can help once or twice, but not all the way through the piece.
Now tell me about your first big break as a professional. What happened?
Well, I think it must have been my Indian spirit. We're so competitive, because doing this local competition every year, I went to England, and in my 2nd or 3rd year, my singing teacher said, come to Spain with me, do a competition. He said, you won't win, but it's good for you. So I went to Spain, to Barcelona, and I didn't win, but I got a prize for the English song, and that was some cash. And I got a prize which was a scholarship to go and study in Salzburg at the Mozarteum, the summer course. And then I went to that course, which was very good because we did some opera scenes, and I got to meet agents and people. And they had a competition at the end of that course. And initially, all the singers are very pushy, and me being a little Indian girl, I was sort of waiting to be asked. And I suddenly realized the list was full. So I went to the guy and I said, please, I must take part. He says, oh, no, there's no place. So the next day I went back and I badgered him, and he felt sorry, so he gave me a spot. I did Susanna's aria, and I won the prize. So that was another little bit of cash in the bank. But there I met agents and things like that, and they were auditioning for Maria in West Side Story. It was going to be done at the Breakdance Festival, and I sang Maria. He said, I want you to go and audition. But unfortunately, I had met a young man in England, and we were planning to get married, and I didn't want to go to Europe. So it was. But my first job, my singing teacher, my then singing teacher, was the teacher of Kirite Kanawa. Yeah. And she introduced me to Kanawa's agent, and he came to say, I was doing a small production of Marriage of Figaro, singing Susanna. And he just came to the show, and then he said to my teacher, I'll sign her up. So I think my career has been very, very unique and very different from most people. He signed me up, he came to my marriage, but then 3 months later I was pregnant, and he'd set up some opera in the next year, which coincided with the birth of my daughter. So I had to turn all that down, and I lost the agent as well. But anyway, I've always been very positive, and immediately after I had my baby, she was 4 months old, someone else was pregnant, so I got the job. And I went to Holland. I did an opera in Holland, in Amsterdam. I got another agent, and then, things carried on. And that, actually, Amsterdam was the first thing, because it just got me a good agent that got me work for a long time after that. I did Euridice in Glux Orfeo soon after that. And then I did Pamina with another company in England. It was tricky combining motherhood with work because I remember doing this Amsterdam job and my daughter was 4 months old and we literally upped and went to Amsterdam and I was breastfeeding her and I said to my husband, here's the bottle, you take over. But, so he used to, my husband's a musician as well and we're very flexible about who looks after the kids. But that can be taxing, as a mother you want to be there with your child and that was tricky. But I felt the good thing about singing is it's not a 9-to-5 job. So when you're not doing work, I would then make up for lost time, do things with the kids. And I think we did well between us.
I remember you mentioning earlier that you had an opportunity and you were turned down and you persisted and you got in. So I think the message for our people here is that you first to knock on the door, and if you don't open the door, you smash it down.
I don't know about smashing it. I think the thing is to be gently persistent. Yeah, because music and working in the arts, there are a lot of egos around. But actually, if you get on with people, you're more likely to get work.
Yes, but what is much more difficult is arranging to have the opposition get pregnant.
That was God's plan, not mine. I must say, actually, working in this field of music, where I've heard businessmen say when they find out about music and especially singing, that it's a harder career to manage than business. Even if you run your own business, you wouldn't have such a difficult time because you might have all the assets, beauty, good voice, good training. It doesn't necessarily guarantee you a career, There are many aspects. You've got to have a bit of luck. You've got to be in the right place at the right time. I'll tell you a bit, talk about good luck and bad, in that at one point in my career, I had 5 offers of opera. And they were all, it was in the summer, and they were all overlapping. And I would have managed to do 3, missing a week here and a week there of rehearsal. But there was one piece, which was an opera by a composer called John Tavener. I was advised by another composer that he was a very good composer and his music would suit my voice. And I also knew that he always composed spiritual music, and that drew me to his music. Now, if I took on his opera, it cancelled out, I think, 3 out of 5, and it was very badly paid. And I upset my agent as well, because there was a job in Amsterdam, which is another contemporary opera, which was fiendishly difficult, but it paid a very vast amount of money, and that's all the agent cared about. But I stuck to my guns and I said, no, I'm doing the Tavener. I'm doing the Tavener, and I even had to ring the man in Amsterdam and tell him myself, I'm really sorry, but I can't do your opera. He never booked me again after that. But actually we did work on something else.
However, though you lost the higher paying contract, you came out ahead because John Tavener has written a lot of music.
Yeah, that's right. That was a good.
Happened to everyone.
That was a good choice. And sometimes one makes the right choice and sometimes one makes the wrong choice. So the Tavener choice was the perfect choice. And he's written almost 30 pieces for my voice. I've been all over the world. Even there though, I have to tell you, I had to be clever because